Good morning and welcome to the Senior Hour. I'm Dr. Gene Dorio with my co-host Barbara Cochran on your hometown station AM 1220 KHTS. Barbara is off today, but we will have a very exciting show because we have from SCVi a student who has participated in a project with Oakmont, Senior to Senior, and
Adrianna Eldridge.
Adrianna Eldridge, welcome to the show. We appreciate your being here. And we're joined by her teacher, Cheryl Sena, who, and Adriana's mom, who's in the background here. We wanted to talk to you a little bit about the project that you had that went to Oakmont and what you did in helping our seniors there.
Yes, so this was a very fun project for me and my group members. We wrote a kind of like blog paper about Mary Hart's life after we went through a series of interviews with her.
And Mary Hart is
she's a senior at Oakmont.
At Oakmont.
Yes.
So what was unique? I mean, it's unique in itself that a senior is writing about a senior, but in a different way. But what was unique about Mary Ann's story?
Her story was so beautiful and inspiring because she was an actress and she kind of saw like the shyness in our group because we all are outgoing, but we have like this inner shyness, and especially within Bella, she's one of our group members, and she really told Bella like to never be afraid to get what you want and to like go for what you want in life, and that really like stuck with us, and I know that like that's going to be prevalent in our lives as we grow up.
Well, that's very inspirational though, isn't it? And you know, I think the first thing that our listeners are probably thinking about is William S. Hart. Mm-hmm. And is it Hart spelled the same way for Mary Ann Hart?
It is spelled the same way.
It is. So she's an actress, and so was William S. Hart. So was there any relationship, Cheryl, that you guys either?
She was from Texas. I don't think there's a relationship. She was from Texas. She did some amazing things. She was in, I'm trying to think of the movie with Elizabeth Taylor.
Giant.
She was in Giant. Mm-hmm. And she showed them pictures. On the first day that we got there, we did speed dating with the seniors, mm-hmm. so that we could match our 12th graders with seniors who had the same interests. Because our driving question was, how can I, as a 21st century person, learn from people who lived in the 20th century? Mm-hmm. How can I learn from their experience? So we had them walk around, and they spent 5 minutes with each senior, and they got to ask them interview questions, and then we paired them up with people who were compatible for the next time. We met with them for over a month on Thursdays for about an hour and a half each Thursday. We did that for 3 weeks, and the first interview was just to get to know them. Mm-hmm. Then they came back, and we wrote more questions that they wanted to dive deeper into that person's life and find out. The goal was advice that the seniors could give to the seniors, to write a column on advice from senior to senior. And so the next time they had to go then and ask them the question so that they could write this advice piece. It's based on this advice that the person gave them. Mm-hmm. And it was a great process for them because for the first time there was a real reason for the writing process, not just to do a report, not just to do something that I'm telling them to do. Mm-hmm. They really had to make sure they were ready to ask the questions for these individuals who were taking time to share their life with them. Mm-hmm. They had to make sure that the questions were relevant enough to get a story out, and some of them discovered it wasn't, so they had to go back a third time, and they shared what they wrote, but then some of them realized their story wasn't as deep as they wanted to go, and so they asked them even deeper questions and re-edited it, and then recorded the pieces and presented the blogs and the information. They had a tea in honor of the seniors on the fourth week, and they honored the seniors, read them parts of their story. It was a beautiful, beautiful event.
So, but let me ask you though, Cheryl, you're a teacher at SCVi, and what is it that motivated you and the students there to have this project in the first place? I mean, we understand we certainly would like to have intergenerational 20th and 21st century knowledge passing back and forth, but this is very unique in what you did. Where did that inspiration come from?
I came on a long car ride with one of my colleagues. We were talking about what we're a project-based school. Mm-hmm. We believe that individuals learn better through experiential activities or experiences rather than just
Out of a book.
memorizing things
Yeah.
out of a book. They find relevance for it. And we were talking, this is the first time that I've been a senior facilitator, and we were just talking about senioritis and what would be exciting to do. And we came up with a project, and we're like, we've done that before. How can we do it different? And so I said, well, what if, and we just, I love working with
Brainstormed.
this. Yes, Ben Williams, he's great. And we just
Ben
sat, he
Williams.
does American history. So he's the American history facilitator, and he told me what he wanted to do. And I said, well, I am English, and I would love them to learn to write about someone's life. And we came up with this on a car ride. And we met with Leanne from, Gina Dunworth from Oakmont, and she had a few ideas. At first we were like, oh, we're just going to do these interviews. Maybe we'll do like something like a presentation. And we talked about having a tea, and it was exciting because we were getting everybody's point of view. And then we brought it back to the learners who gave us some ideas as well.
So Adriana, so in this process that you went through for 4 weeks was you were inspired, but you also learned a lot. You stepped into a role that took you out of a book, but brought you into real life to capture somebody else's life. What do you feel you learned from this?
Well, there was actually like a reflection section that we had afterward as an assignment, and I wrote a lot about what I learned about myself was like how I learn and like how I record things and how I write. And I actually feel like I'm a better writer coming out of this project. And also like just learning all the knowledge from her and like obtaining what she had to say was just like honestly a lifelong lesson. Like she just had a lot to give to us about like how to live your life and how to be kind and how to go through experiences and things.
So was Mary Ann Hart the person you got matched up with then?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So that this, when you guys got together, this is who you wrote about and you presented to the group as well. Okay, but did you present this also to the seniors at Oakmont also?
Yeah, they got a copy of their own to take home. And she actually made a really cute comment. She said, I'm going to take this home and show my friends and my family. And she, we had it laminated. And so she kind of put it in her room and, yeah, displayed
Very nice.
it.
But how about, though, did you have presentations at Oakmont as well for, everybody you featured and talked to? And did Mary Ann Hart, or did you stand up and say, this is what I learned about this individual, and this is what, made me change my life and reflect on, what her life was now applying to my life?
Yes, we had a final POL, which is a presentation of learning. And it was the tea that we hosted for the seniors. So we all had our little tables, and then we brought them the food and the tea. And then we presented our papers to them, and then we all went up on the mic and kind of talked about our experience and how it meant to our lives.
So you're a senior, and congratulations, you will graduate on Friday.
Thank you.
So, well, what are your plans now? Are you mentioned and you're in your reflection that you've learned to write and maybe write better. Is there something now? I mean, you hit another level, and you do have to be able to communicate and write, no matter what field you're going into. But did any of this and anything at SCVi point you in the direction that you are going to head now in your future endeavors?
This project actually kind of re-inspired me to do what I want. I haven't really talked about this with anybody, but I guess with the self-reflection, I always wanted to do acting and singing, and I kind of thought it wasn't really practical, I guess financially, but this kind of sparked in me to go for what I want and have a side job as well to maintain money, but this is really what I love, and it inspired me to go out and get that.
And you have been acting and participating here in Santa Clarita on a few other projects that have helped you in that endeavor. Is that correct?
Yes. I've done a couple productions at CTG, one of which was last summer. I was Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz at the PAC at COC.
Well, congratulations. It looks like that you have taken what you're learning here in Santa Clarita and now reapplying it and moving it forward. So in terms of moving it forward, what do you plan? You mentioned about acting. Where do you go from here? What do you do to keep moving in that direction?
Well, I've been accepted into COC, so I'm going to be doing 2 years of general ed there, and then also minoring in their theater productions.
Wow, that is excellent. Now, you've been at SCVi for how long?
About 4 years.
4 years?
I came a little bit, less than halfway into my freshman year.
So let me talk to Cheryl just for a minute. Cheryl, you're a teacher there, and SCVi is kindergarten to 12th grade.
Yes.
And Adrianna came in 8th grade or so. So, in terms of that K to 12, it sounds like you open the book, but take from others the knowledge of real life that you're teaching them over there. How does that keep applying from K to 12 in all your students?
It's so amazing. If you look at the current projects our learners are doing, we call them learners instead of students. But in 4th grade right now, in 4th and 5th grade, that team is doing the tiny house project. I don't know if you've heard about it, but they are currently building a tiny house for a homeless veteran. What they all did is they came up with the idea, the blueprints and everything, presented it in a presentation of learning. The one that they chose one of those to build, and they're currently doing that right now.
No. This is not like a dollhouse. This is a house.
A house for a veteran as a fourth.
It's on wheels, right?
Yes.
But it's because I've seen it in the news. But veterans can actually live.
In
and
the
it's
house.
small. It's not
Yes.
like 1,000 square feet. It's like 300 square feet,
Yes.
if anything.
Yes, and so you have 4th and 5th graders doing that. In 8th grade, they just got through with an experiential learning project in which for about a month and a half they've immersed themselves in the Civil War. My daughter's in 8th grade, so she participated in that. She led the cotillion. She helped choreograph the dance. They do battles. They looked at first aid. They really immersed themselves in the history. It's very interesting. In 10th grade, our 10th graders just got through with their personal project in which they get to study. They get to, for a whole year, it's outside of the classroom. They dive deep into something that they interest them. So last year, my daughter, who's now a junior, she is a musician and she's an actress as well. And so she took more lessons on keyboarding. She's self-taught, but she took more lessons on keyboarding and music, voice lessons, and she wrote her own LP and produced it. And then they have to write about the process. She wrote a 20-page paper on that and then had to present it to a panel of people to say yay or nay on her process. And so we really believe that learning is a process, not an end-all, be-all thing. And we're constantly helping our learners grow from the process. We believe that failure is a must if one is supposed to learn. So we don't get alarmed when a learner is failing. We try to figure out how we can help that learner be successful, what it is that's holding them back. And we'd prefer they fail a little bit now rather than in college or later on in life. So the lessons that they're learning here at our school prepare them better for college. We really are striving to get our learners to further their education in college or in career paths that will lead them to more study or more career development.
Most people hear the commercials here on KHTS for SCVi, but it is a charter school. It's part of the Hart system, I think.
We have our charter through Hart School District.
Through Hart School District. But it's a charter school, but, people hear charter school and they think that they have to pay to go to charter school.
No.
And it's like going to a public school.
Publicly funded. We have a lottery every year, and we choose names from that, because that's the process in which we go through.
But you have a lottery because a lot of people apply.
Well, yes, we do. in
And you're a
kindergarten.
limited size then.
We're limited to our size, and then those who don't make the cut will get on a waiting list, and they can go to our school.
Wow, but the charter schools have, there's huge discussion right now in society about charter schools, but it seems like your daughter and Adriana are already multi-talented as they walk in the door. And I know, if I were basing criteria for myself when I was maybe in 8th grade, thinking, where am I going to go to school? I would shun a charter school because I would think I have no talent. I don't have anything to offer, but that just isn't true, is it?
Well, it's about finding your inner passion and having the opportunity to experiment and find that. And let's face it, we are so very fortunate to live in the Santa Clarita Valley. The choices we have for school here are amazing. And it's about finding the best school and the best fit for yourself. And this was the best school for my children. And myself, I enjoy facilitating like this. I'm actually a learner in the classroom. I do not stand and lecture to my students. I usually give them a task. I may ask them a few things, but I love learning from them when they want to bring things in the classroom. So it's definitely a good fit for myself and my children.
And SCVi has been around since 2008. So you just had your 4th graduating
This will be our 4th graduating class. Next year we'll go into our 10th year. And I'm a founding facilitator. I've been there since 2008.
So learners and facilitators as opposed to teachers and students. And that's to me a great labeling that doesn't allow one to fit into a mold and get out of that mold. And I think, Adriana, that's what you've done. You've just said to yourself, I'm moving forward in a way that I feel comfortable with. How important is it for you to sense in the future, you're looking and hoping, acting possibly, but you're going to have other things that you can do. How important, though, is it for you and doing the project senior to senior to understand that isn't it important also to be happy in life and happy with what you do, and because that will fulfill you more than making a lot of money and being pushed into a field that you don't like?
Definitely. I think that going for what you want is really important, because if you do go into a field and you are making a lot of money, you might not always be happy. And I think just like with this project, she was being really inspirational by telling us, like, really go for what you want, because she did it and it worked out for her. And she didn't always have the best of money, but she was always happy, and she always felt like she made good decisions for her life, and it turned out for the best.
And it just seems like also that you're seeing this as well, and you're facing the same things and saying the same things, but you're only 18. And that's a huge difference. I mean, that's so admirable about what your maturity level is. And I just see you as moving fast forward. I think a lot of people who might be 80 years old aren't at the level that you are at, and that understanding. So, and I think SCVi and the way they do things there, the learners and the facilitators, allow them to grow, and that makes a huge difference, doesn't it, Cheryl?
It totally makes a huge difference. I really have seen such growth. I was lucky to have Adriana as a 10th grade facilitator, and she's quite the mature young lady, and she's like an old soul. And I'm very proud of the things that she's able to accomplish. It hasn't always been smooth for her. She struggled, but she really always believed in herself, stepped up, and was able to be successful.
An old soul and young skin with a young mind, and that's what we need in our society, because you will evolve, Adriana, in what you do, and that's just wonderful. Congratulations on everything you do. Congratulations on your graduation this Friday. We appreciate that. And Cheryl, thank you for coming in and explaining to our listeners, not only the accomplishment of what the students are doing, but also what SCVi is all about.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Great. Thank you. I'm Dr. Dorio. We're going to take a break on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.